What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe.
Let's get into Michael Thomas yesterday. So, it started coming out yesterday that Michael Thomas not going to be brought back with the New Orleans Saints. Of course, though, that is not a surprise, right? We knew this from day one. Like, last year was a 1 year, let's see if we can do this thing. And it did not go well. It fell apart during the season. You could already know this was coming then when Thomas started popping off at Carr and Allen publicly. And then, so yesterday was just kind of a confirmation of what we expected for a long time, which is why, again, the reaction is a little surprising. But Jeff Duncan writes a piece. The Saints will soon release Michael Thomas. It shouldn't have ended this way. And it just goes through Thomas's tenure in New Orleans, which is, I don't know, Jake, I don't know that I've ever seen a tenure that is so clearly and differently, it's so clearly split in half, right? From when it was going well to the last 4 years where it is not. But it's also, not only is it like split in half, it's just a true tale of two players. I mean, NFL bona fide Hall of Famer for those first 5 years into playing in missing 47 of 67 games. I mean, look, as Jeff writes, never forget. So Thomas bursts onto the scene, sets all the rookie records. He's incredible. He signs that 5-year, $96 million extension. And this is before wide receivers getting paid. This was ahead of the curve. And then I always appreciate this. Never forget, he set the NFL record the year after the contract.
Yep.
Was not a money year. He'd already gotten his money, and then he goes out for 149, 1,700 yards, and 9 touchdowns, only the second Saint to be NFL Offensive Player of the Year. And at that point, Jake, again, it felt like he was maybe the best receiver in the NFL, and who knows how long this go on. Like, this is incredible. And then it just all fell apart, man.
It did.
Like, fast.
I mean,
and never got back.
It just never got back on track. Gosh, it felt like he was going to be a New Orleans Saint for, 12 years.
Yeah.
Which at the receiver position, you just never get a longevity of a career like that. And he's dealt with injuries. Obviously, he's had some disagreements, we'll say, with Derek Carr and others. It's like whenever Drew Brees left, Mike Thomas is still a really good football player, but just something happened there. And I don't know what his opportunity is going to be now. Like, I don't know where he's going to land next, because teams will look at this and they're going to be like, okay, well, what is the value there? Like, what are we going to give you? You made $10 million last year. We're not giving you $10 million, but I'm sure Mike Thomas thinks he's a $10 million player. So, like, a team's going to look at, are you going to be available to us? You hadn't really been available over the last couple of years. Right? All of this Twitter stuff, is that going to be something that's going to continue? Because, like, right, wrong, or indifferent, I'm not siding with anybody here. I'm just saying they don't like the extra.
No.
Right? No team's going to want to sign up for that. So I don't know where he goes from here. And it's a shame, because I do think he is a player that, when healthy, can still help teams win games.
So he goes from being that record holder to, then, as we said, misses 47 of 67 games over the next 4 seasons, Jake. And it's crazy, because over 4 years – he puts up stats that wouldn't even have been good for one of his seasons over the first 5.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still, over 4 years, 95 catches, 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. But that's how good he was. Those would have been subpar numbers for a single year in early Mike Thomas. So I'm with you. The question becomes, will there be a second act? Does he still have anything left in him? What happens if he goes to a Kansas City? Right, who definitely needs receivers. Now, I don't know, maybe him and Kelsey's skill set is too overlapping for them to really be the spot, but like a Buffalo, like wherever. Do you think Michael Thomas can be a part of a winning team and be a really threatening, like, number 2 receiver still in this league?
Somewhere to pay attention to would be Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah, for sure,
him
dude.
Joe
Him and Burrow seem like they would
have
get along great.
Well, they have a great relationship from Ohio State.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah, remember the national championship game in
he got his money.
2019. I mean, Mike Thomas was on the sideline of that game, watching his boy Joe Burrow. And if you want to get rid of Boyd. Obviously, they're in Cincinnati. He would kind of take over that role. You franchise T. Higgins. You have Jamar Chase. They're different receivers than Mike Thomas is. So
that would make sense.
If Joe Burrow wants Mike Thomas to be a receiver on the Bengals, he'll be a receiver on the Bengals.
Well, and that might be somewhere where you could actually see Thomas being willing to take a discount because it's a winner. It's a team that you would think is a contender if Burrow is healthy. And Thomas is going to be out for blood to prove that he could still be relevant in a winning team, and he made his money. Like he's made very good money. If he wanted to take a little less and more just prove that he still got it, that would feel like that's a great answer in terms of landing spot. And look, it's not just that he was hurt during this time, but it's that some of it was preventable. I mean, right? Like you had an entire offseason where he ghosted the Saints about his ankle, only then to show up at camp and then be like, well, actually you need surgery, right? After denying it. And so all of these are true facts of what happened. And essentially, this is all Jeff Duncan wrote about, was the complicated highs and lows of the legacy that Mike Thomas leaves behind. And Mike Thomas takes
Are you saying he didn't deserve to be called a hoe?
I mean, no, I don't believe they did. But again, I understand it from Mike's perspective. I'm not, because like he's a hyper competitive athlete, and I've heard he's a bit of a psycho, like in a good way. But like, if you cross him, that's how some guys find motivation. I don't understand the Saints fans piling on Jeff, but he says, Michael Thomas tweeting, can't guard Mike. Jeff Duncan, funny how they plan on releasing me if I was on a 1-year deal. Don't fall for it. He's the same dude that tried to be my friend in season after saying I wasn't the same player in training camp. Next topic. Say next to pick. I'm an idiot. Next topic. Then he says, Jeff Duncan is a hoe, trying to stay relevant, so let's speak on it. The Saints leak information to him to try to ruin players' value, but I'm not broke, so I can speak on it. He is broke, so he needs clicks. Go look at his articles that never end up being true. He tweeted a picture of Jeff in which, it's a classic newsroom picture. He's sitting there, laptop in front of him. Look at this clown. Y'all think he know ball? Yeah, right. Y'all really clicking links to what he writes. Hashtag good luck. Looks like he take them salt things. I know.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I was actually trying
I was going to go to you for that one.
I just figured.
I was thinking like the salt on the table. He steals the stuff?
No. I was going to say like some
smelling
kind
salts?
of...
well, he's got those great salt. He has the great like gray hair of the temples that Hal Jordan had in the Green Lantern comics in the 90s that I've always wanted. Makes you look very wise. I don't know. That's what I thought of. I have no idea what them salt things are.
I was thinking like bath salts.
I mean, but this doesn't look like a man who takes bath salts.
I didn't say he did. I'm just saying that's the only thing I can think of.
I reject the joke as being not a good one because I don't think that looks like. It just looks like a responsible, normal dad. Mike Thomas would go on to tweet, "They gonna call you crazy, but it's okay to take no disrespect. Respect comes first. Until y'all catch 149 in 16 games, more 15, but I'll give you 16. Holla at me. Great is great." He said, Drew played 20-something years, I think, and I'm still the only one to do what we did. Make your excuse for someone else. So, Mike in his feels a little bit yesterday, as you can see. Again, the odd part to me, though, was Saints fans then began to pile on Jeff, being like, yeah, screw this guy, he's an idiot. But again, what did Jeff say that was untrue? And it's and yes, people are linking like the articles where he wrote like Sean Payton's going nowhere, only for him to retire and end up in Denver. And all these other takes. But, like, that's the take game, man. When you sit there and you try to predict the future, like, you're going to be right and wrong. That's just what happens. I guess I just don't understand. Like, I love Mike Thomas because of all the good. There were some really, really good times, okay? But it is not Jeff Duncan's fault. It is not the Saints' fault as to why it all went so awry. And I'm not even saying it's completely Mike's fault. I mean, this is luck in a lot of these situations. A lot of injuries are luck, and it's brutal when you have a run of bad luck that can completely derail your career. And so I feel for him, but like, let's not act like you've just been super happy with Mike Thomas over the past 5 years or 4 years. Don't act like you weren't pissed when he didn't talk to the Saints the entire offseason, showed up and had to get surgery that cost him the entire season because he didn't get it at the end of the year like he was supposed to. Like, everybody has to bear their own culpability in this matter.
This might be something where Mike Thomas is like, good riddance. I get a chance to go somewhere else and
100%.
play in an offense with a quarterback that I trust and a head coach that is a winner. At the end of the day, like, I don't know what it's going to look like for him, as I mentioned, because where he's at as far as what his salary is going to be because of injury history, but he's going to get a chance.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question about that. And I don't know, he might actually come out on the other side feeling better about the situation.
Oh no, I think this is the right move for Mike Thomas. I think he needs to get out of New Orleans. Like, even last year, I didn't think he needed to be here. It was kind of like the final gasp. You know, you get back with your ex one more time because you just remember how good the good times were, and you give it one final fling, and then you're like, oh, I remember now why we broke up in the first place. So I think this is best for both parties, without a doubt. And I mean, look, again, because he was so good, literal Hall of Fame good, my brain is so dumb that, like, it takes a long time to change that in my mind. And I still think that in a better situation, yeah, maybe he ends up being great. And the other thing is, he's going to be otherworldly motivated to try to prove people wrong. And he's always been one of those guys who's been described as having that kind of FU Jordan work ethic. And so I'm interested to see what he's going to do. But yeah, I think it's best for both parties. I think it's a huge bummer that it ended in the way that it did after what a wonderful beginning it was.
Yeah, because now somebody that set records in your uniform and was doing things that nobody had ever done before, like that relationship's over. You know?
Yeah.
And you can come back and be celebrated. And
I know.
It's kind of like now, when that happens in the professional ranks, it's not like college. Sometimes in college that can happen, and then through time, you figure your way back to campus, and then like Scott Frost at one point will be forgiven for Nebraska, like for as bad as he was as a head coach, right? 10 years from now, he'll be able to go back, they'll have a national championship, whatever, and he'll be there. Like in the pros, it doesn't work like that. Like once you're done, you're kind of done.
Even if a new regime comes into play, you think?
Yeah.
Well, I hope that's not true. Because, again, he deserves to be in the Saints Ring of Honor. He set so many records, both NFL and Saints records. And I would hate to see him just completely, to throw out the baby with the bathwater because of just some emotionally charged times. But for Thomas himself, man, like, because he was on that NFL Hall of Fame trajectory and it fell apart, I just hope he can at least have one final I told you so season, right? Where he just comes back, maybe it's 1,000 yards, close to 100 catches, maybe it's 100 catches, a little under 1,000 yards, whatever. I hope he has one final kind of gasp where he can fulfill all of that incredible ceiling that we got to see for those first 4 years in the league. So,
actually, I would bet more likely that he will have that than he won't. Like, I feel like he'll go out there, do everything he's got to do. He is highly competitive. We've always known that. He's going to be able to pick a spot now. He's going to go to a spot where he feels like he can do exactly what we're talking about.
Self-awareness, Jeff Duncan with filet to goat if the Benson Mafia ordered it. I don't think that's true. So he also says, folks who take the Saints side over Mike Thomas' injury forget the Saints replaced their entire ortho staff for incompetence. Look, I have gone after the Saints and their medical staff with the Pelicans, with the Saints, Delvin Breaux saga. There has been a lot of bad there. It doesn't change. Think of it less as, okay, if you don't want to think of it as me taking the Saints side, it is still objectively Mike Thomas's fault for not getting surgery and doing an entire offseason not getting surgery, only to have surgery immediately when they start doing football. Like that and he's admitted as much himself. So, like, even if he doesn't trust these Saints staff, he's still, that's fine. Go out on your own, get your own opinion. I mean, Jake, you can speak of this better than I can, but he went out on his own. He made the wrong decision. There's no gray area there. It cost him a year, a very important year.
I mean, after my rookie year, I had to have a knee surgery. It was more than a meniscus, and you get to decide: do you want the team doctor to do it, or do you want to go wherever you want to go and get it done? They can't stop you from doing that. That's part of the NFLPA fought for that for a long time. And so I came back to Baton Rouge. Dr. Bankston did my knee surgery. I rehabbed here because you have that option.
Yeah.
You don't have to have, like, if you get hurt at LSU, You ain't going nowhere else.
No.
I don't know how it is now, but like
Well,
the team
now they probably just have like a private doctor that they pay for,
Right.
keep on retainer.
Yeah. So the team doctor does that surgery in college. Not
Your
the case.
chef makes your meals.
Honestly, I don't know of a team doctor in the NFL that does surgeries. Like everybody kind of goes and does their own thing. Whatever specialist across the country
Which
does,
that makes
whatever.
sense. I
If
mean,
you get a meniscus, they'll probably do that. But
yeah, that makes sense. But look, this is best for both parties, man. The Saints are in such a weird spot. The culture seems so split. You got to try to bring back people who are on board. Thomas clearly not. And Thomas, again, I think he has a second act left in him, but he needs to be on a winning team. And I love that Joe Burrow landing spot. Don saying Mike Thomas to the Texans, Mike Thomas to the Jaguars. That's the thing. There's a lot of teams where you think about them all and you're like, oh, that could be good. But I think Jake actually hit the nail on the head with the Bengals as maybe being the best one.
Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.